Chapter 8 Shadows of Trust. Squall lies restless on the narrow bunk of his dormitory, the steel walls of Balham Garden humming faintly as it drifts atop the ocean's gentle swells. Its once static spire, now a moving city carving through waves beneath a star-strewn sky, the recent tumult swirling in his mind. Idaea's icy lance, the garden's upheaval. Cypher's betrayal fueling a quiet vow for reckoning, and the sorceress's shadow looming larger with each breath. His scarred brow furrows as he ponders the missile base crew, Selphie, Irvine and Quistis, questioning if their perilous mission was just, their safety a gnawing uncertainty. Yet their sabotage spared Balaam from ruin, a weight that both burdens and steadies him. The garden's transformation into this aquatic fortress, testament to their unseen sacrifice. Footsteps stir him from the haze, Renoa slipping through a door, her blue duster swaying as she nudges him awake, her warmth cutting through his solitude with a request for a tour around the garden. Angelo's tail wagging at her side. Squall's reluctance flickers, his gunblade resting nearby as he rises, but her plea for a fun tour softens his guard, a rare smirk tugging his lips as they jest, their steps lightening through the corridors alive with the hum of turbines. Their tour weaves to the cafeteria, a bustling hall of steel tables and steaming counters, where Zell slumps, his fists tapping the surface in mock dismay, the last of the prized hot dogs snatched moments before, his grumble met with Squall's dry tease and Renoa's playful laugh, a fleeting ease settling between them. The infirmary follows, a sterile ward of white walls as beeping monitors, where Dr. Kadawaki, a stern woman with greying hair pulled tight, glances up from her charts and requests the headmaster Sid see her not before. Her passing remark about their couple-like air sparking a flush in Renoa's cheeks and a faint shift in Squall's stance, their bond deepening in the quiet exchange. The respite shatters as a garden faculty summons Squall to report to Garden Master Norg, whilst providing access to his B1 level. His resolve snapping back as he rallies Zell from the cafeteria's edge, Renoa trailing with determined curiosity, Angelo's ears perked. They descend with many questions in thought. Who is Norg? How has this been kept such a secret for so long? And what of the infighting between him and Headmaster Sid that split the garden's allegiance? They enter to a tense scene, Headmaster Sid's voice clashing with the garden master's in a shadowed antechamber, its steel doors etched with faint runes. Sid's bespectacled gaze fierce as he condemns greed, insisting Seed's future lies in defiance, not profit. His pleas ignored as he mutters regret for his trust in them, storming towards the exit with a burdened stride. Sid shows embarrassment when he realizes Squall and co. have witnessed the exchange. Sid assures them and to come and see him after they delivered their report. In the commotion, Squall almost forgets to pass the message on to Sid to report to the infirmary before they are ushered in by the garden faculty, the party looking to her for answers, but only find confusion amongst themselves. Escorted deeper, they enter Norg's hidden chamber, a cavernous vault of polished stone and dim amber lights, its air thick with an electric hum, arcane glyphs pulsing along walls that curve toward a central dais where a massive capsule looms, its shell cracking open to steaming pressured vents releasing to reveal Garden Master Norg, a grotesque Shumi with bulbous flesh and glowing yellow eyes, his non-human form a jarring bulk within the pod's confines. tendrils of machinery coiling around him. Squall's stance tightens, his mind racing as he questions how this entity remained unknown. The alien presence unsettling as Norg demands a report on the sorceress, his voice a guttural rasp. Squall's reply cuts sharp. The assassination failed, Galbadia and Balam's orders unmet, igniting Norg's fury, his pod trembling as he accuses them of being tricked, revealing Martine as his subordinate, the sorceress and garden bound by a tangled alliance he'd long known. A plan Martine twisted to use Balam against Norg's will, dragging them into Idea's retaliation. Furious, Norg insists they were pawns, demanding their heads offered to Idea in feigned obedience to salvage his standing. His greed a shield for the garden he funded, unwilling to see it razed. Squall protests, his gunblade steady as he challenges Seed's purpose. Why not fight as Sid urges? Enraging Norg further, who admits ordering Sid's capture amid the infighting to appease the sorceress. Unveiling a shattering truth, Sid's marriage to Idea ties the garden to her fate, a revelation that staggers Squall, Norg's assumption of his loyalty to Sid sparking the chamber's defences. Zell's fists flare, Renoa's resolve hardens, and Squall's blade meets Norg's arcane onslaught, lightning and orbs clashing in the vault, until the Shumi collapses, defeated, his pod dimming and closing, entering its deep stasis as the trio stands breathless, shock mingling with the weight of secrets, urgency driving them to confront Sid in the infirmary, something graver now afoot. Squall, Zell and Renoa step out front the lift. The garden with its usual buzz, cadets heading to class, announcements across the PA, none the wiser as to the events that had just taken place in the sub-level, or the eerie undertones of garden itself. Answers are the only thoughts running through Squall's mind as they step into the infirmary's sterile glow. Its white walls and beeping monitors, framing Headmaster Sid on a cot, his red vest rumpled as he rises, his bespectacled gaze meeting Squall's with a blend of weariness and resolve, the air thick with antiseptic and the weight of unspoken truths. Dr. Kadawaki stepping aside with a knowing nod. As their conversation unfolds, Sid unravels the tangled threads of Seed's purpose, a force forged from his and Idea's shared dream to train warriors against sorceresses, a vision to shield the world from unchecked power now warped by the very threat they aim to thwart. His tone softening with regret as he reveals Idea as his wife, a woman of grace whose heart fell to a darker force, a time he felt coming, knowing she was a sorceress, and still marrying her many years ago. Revealing it was originally her idea to start Seed. Much to his caution, she reassured him it would never be used against her. His speculative concern now a very dark reality, her transformation a wound he carries from a union once bright with hope, happiness and love, now casting shadows over Seed's mission he is so committed to. His hands tightening as he recounts entrusting Master Norg with the garden's funding a unrepayable debt. Norg, on top of his initial funding, also was the mastermind behind the idea of selling the product of Seed as mercenaries, one that would bear great financial results and further develop Garden into what it had become but a pact to protect Idea that lost and curdled into greed along with it, and most importantly, forgotten the high ideals and truth covered up about Seed's purpose, the Shumi's alliance with Martine a betrayal that ensnared Balam in the assassination's fallout, Norg's demand for their surrender, a desperate bid to appease her wrath, undone by Squall's defiance, an expectation Sid had of Squall when he passed the trio entering Norg's chambers, his voice firming as he urges Squall now to lead Seed forward, to seek Adea, pierce her corruption, and reclaim their founding purpose. Admitting the Garden's drift on the ocean is but a fleeting respite. His trust in Squall a quiet plea to mend what he cannot. The infirmary's stillness a crucible as Squall's resolve steadies. His path sharpening amidst the revelations of a fractured legacy and the sorceress's looming shadow. A distant hum ripples through Balam Garden's drifting frame. Shu approaches, alerting Headmaster Sid and the party of a vessel's arrival and boarding. Giving the Headmaster time to prepare Squall, Zell and Renoa approach the boarding platform with haste, meeting the White Seed's sleek vessel, its white steel hull etched with faint glyphs. Cutting through the ocean dawn, confirming their arrival as allies with a steady nod, an enigmatic cadre clad in pale tunics as they board from the esplanade's edge, their steps swift and purposeful across the polished stone, explaining their mission to retrieve Elone. A young woman with wide eyes and a ribboned braid, her presence a guarded secret within the garden. Sid arrives and Nod in gangrene, alleviating all fears, but leaving enough confusion for Squall to be hesitant, his voice firm as he sends Squall, Zell and Renoa to scour the garden for Elone. Squall's gunblade sways as they search the humming corridors, Zell's fists tapping with unease as he wonders aloud if this Elone is the same from their Laguna dreams. Visions of Windhill and Centra haunting their sleep. Squalls confides to Renoa this strangeness, her warmth tilting with confusion since the dream world eludes her, their trio splitting across steel halls and glass atriums. Cadets murmurs a faint backdrop. Squall finds her in the library, a quiet nook of towering shelves and soft light, Elone's wide eyes and ribboned braid turning as he confronts her, knowing his time is limited before she is escorted away. His tone sharp with demands about her identity, whether a coincidence of name only in Elone from their dreams, and if she knows Laguna, her gentle nod confirming she misses her Uncle Laguna, a tender ache in her gaze, shocking Squall as these dreams seem to be as real as they felt. He presses for answers. Why these visions? What they mean? Her response faltering, a cryptic murmur that they do not dream but glimpse the past. Her question lingering in the air. If he could change it, would he, suggesting it's worth a try, all to Squall's disbelief as he demands why him, if she's the cause, her apology soft and evasive. Chu arriving along with the White Seeds with a crisp stride to escort Elone, cutting through his frustration. Before departing, Elone approaches Squall leaning over to his ear, her whisper piercing his anger and confusion, speaking so gentle that as if time itself stood still that he is her only hope. Leaving Squall reeling, she leaves to board the White Seed vessel, its white wake fading into the horizon, his worldview fracturing under recent revelations. Guilt weighing as he drifts to his dorm, pondering why rely on others when only he can save himself, yet thinking of Renoa and Zell about surviving alone only to realise he hasn't, his childhood memories slipping. Did he think the same then? And why can't he recall as he lays staring to his dorm ceiling? A vision flashing back to the past of a child in rain, a yet-to-be scarred brow soaked and defiant, insisting he'll be fine without his sister. A lone figure braced against the storm. Chapter 9. Haven of the Horizon. Balham Garden glides atop the ocean's restless swells, its steel pillars and humming turbines a testament to its newfound mobility. The night stars reflecting off the waves as it drifts toward an unseen shore, until dawn unveils Fisherman's Horizon, a floating city adrift on the sea, only connected by the intercontinental rail line. Its sprawling network of weathered wooden piers and rusted cranes tethered to a lattice of steel girders. Massive cityscape of solar panels arching skyward like shimmering sails emulating a satellite dish facing to the sky, their surfaces glinting with the sun's first light. A marvel of salvaged ingenuity born from the hands of fishermen and engineers who carved a haven from the horizon's embrace. A shuddering crash jolts the Garden's frame, its bow slicing through FH's docks with a groan of twisting metal and splintering planks, the collision lodging its bulk amidst the city's sun-bleached walkways, the air thick with the tang of brine and the clatter of dislodged tools as the floating refuge trembles under the impact. Squall stirs from his dorm's bunk as the jolt rouses him from thoughts of Helona's departure, Zell springing upright with restless energy, and Renoa rising beside them, her blue duster swaying as the trio hastening to the bridge where Headmaster Sid awaits, his bespectacled gaze fixed on screens mapping the breach, his orders sharp across the intercom PA. No one leaves the Garden. He orders Squall, Zell, and Renoa as chosen representatives tasked to find FH Mayor and offer an apology for the upheaval due to the faulting Garden, along with keeping peace. Stepping onto the creaking piers, the air alive with salt and the hum of solar generators, they meet locals in faded tunics, hardened hands pausing mid-repair, whose weathered faces soften as the trio approach with caution of peace and ill-advised damage. They offer to mend the damage, revealing in low tones that FH's craftsmen were contracted long ago to forge Balham Garden itself, their labour a forgotten thread binding this floating city to the seed's cradle. Squall's resolve steadying as Zell's curiosity flares, Renoa's warmth meeting their gaze with quiet wonder, their mission a bridge between past craftsmanship and present amends beneath the horizon's vast canopy. As the party weave through the maze of weathered piers and rusted walkways, the hum of massive solar panels surround, mingling with the crash of waves below, their steps guided by locals in faded tunics toward the mayor's residence, a modest shack perched atop a towering crane, its wooden walls patched with salvaged planks, a solar array glinting beside it, the air thick with salt and the murmur of FH's resilient life. Ascending a creaking ladder, they enter to find Mayor Dobe, a lean man with a weathered face framed by greying hair, his tunic loose over a frame honed by years at sea, standing amidst a clutter of nautical charts and fishing gear and monitoring equipment, his gaze sharp yet tempered by a pacifist's calm as Squall rests steady, as he offers an apology for the Garden's collision. Dobe's hands pause over a net he mends, his demeanour cool as he acknowledges their regret, but insists FH thrives on peace, not conflict. Garden being in the city a direct infringement on that ideal and invites violence. The crash a disruption to their quiet existence, though he concedes the locals' willingness to help repair the damage, their pride in engineering a long ago a bond for the citizens of FH he cannot dismiss. Squall's resolve holds firm as he understands their position and does not want to press for cooperation, but is weary of letting non-seed engineers aboard Garden, and insists on relaying with Headmaster Sid before confirming any arrangement. As the trio begin to return to Sid, a sudden clamour pierces the tranquillity. Reports of Galbardian soldiers pushing through the town, the mayor's wife Flo, beside herself on what Ballamgarden has brought to its shores, demanding Squall and his party take responsibility for this. A small troop of Galbadian soldiers in blue tunics swarm from the train tracks, their rifles glinting as they march across the piers, their boots thudding on the planks with martial precision, their voices sharp as they demand Alone's whereabouts, their search a ripple of Adea's will reaching this peaceful shore. Mayor Dobe emerges from his crane-top shack, descending the ladder with measured steps, his weathered face set with a pacifist's resolve as he approaches the soldiers, his lean frame unbowed as he offers negotiation, his hands raised in a plea for peace, urging them to leave FH undisturbed, his words a fragile shield against their steel. The soldiers' leader, a stern figure in crimson, brushes aside the mayor's entreaty, his stance rigid as he orders the advance to destroy the city and search everywhere. Dobe's protest faltering as the troops press forward, their intent unyielding, sparking Squall as he steps into their path, his gunblade flashing as he meets their charge with precise strikes. With a leader's resolve, Zell surging beside him, his fists hammering through the ranks with relentless force, splintering rifles and scattering foes, while Rinoa weaves through the fray, her warmth fueling swift casts to shield the fleeing fishermen. Angelo snarls a fierce echo at her side, their defence a bulwark against the soldiers' hunt for Elone. Mayor Dobe retreats to the crane's edge, his weathered hands clenched as his pacifist plea fades, the clash unfolding adjacent to the solar array's home, until the soldiers falter, their crimson-clad leader staggering as Zell's final blow lands, only to rasp a command with his last breath, summoning the Ironclad, a hulking BGH-251F2, its riveted armour rumbling onto the pier, before collapsing in a feint, leaving Squall's stance rigid, Zell's fists raised, and Rinoa's breath catching as they brace for battle. Confusion ripples as the machine lurches, smoke hissing for its joints, its weapons disengaging with a groan. The sabotaged frame shuddering as it rolls toward the shore's edge, Squall's gaze narrowing, Zell's tension easing, and Rinoa's warmth flickering with puzzlement, until it teeters off the pier into the sea, a hatch bursting open to reveal Irvine, Selphie, and Quistis leaping free. Irvine's tan duster smudged with soot, his rifle steady, Selphie's grin bright despite her cuts or bruises, and Quistis's whip coiled as she lands, their emergence a sudden spark of relief and wonder, the trio's reunion igniting amidst F8's battered calm as the ironclad sinks beneath the waves, their survival a quiet triumph against Adea's fading grasp. A quiet joy washes over Squall, his scarred brow softening as a rare flicker of happiness stirs at seeing his comrades safe. A shift Rinoa notices with a gentle tilt of her head, her warmth deepening as she catches the fleeting light in his eyes, their bond a silent thread amidst the moment. In a twist of fate, Selphie, Irvine and Quistis recall how they were cornered by the missile base's impending doom after felling the ironclad in battle, and the irony in discovering refuge within its battered steel hull, its bulk a surprising sanctuary as the explosion roared. Only to find themselves, in a stroke of wry fortune, assumed soldiers once more by unsuspecting Galbadian generals, and tasked the pilot machine as reports of Balam Garden emerged in nearby Fisherman's Horizon, their daring escape masked by the very machine they'd vanquished. And whilst the Garden drift by sea, they made way within hulking BGH 2-5 on F2, escorted by the small troop of soldiers besides them, for days unbeknownst to them that their very saboteurs were hiding in plain sight the whole trip. From within the ironclad's smoky cockpit, the trio watched the Galbadian siege on Fisherman's Horizon unfold through cracked visors, dispelling soldiers secretly, holding back the unit's potential damage until their surprise of seeing Squall's gunblade flash into view, spurring them to halt the machine and leap into the fray. Squall turns to the others and instructs them to return to the docked Garden for a medical checkup and debrief, steady with command, intent on ensuring their safety after the missile base ordeal, while he remains to tend to Mayor Dobe's needs, the air tinged with brine and the distant lap of waves. Irvine's rifle shifts as he nods, Selfie's grin softening with a weary bounce, Quistis's whip coiling as she leads Zell, all laughing and talking gleefully, back toward the Garden's looming shadow, their steps fading along the piers, Renoa purposely holding back to address Squall, her blue duster catching the breeze as Angelo pads at her side, her warmth pausing him as she lingers. She steps closer, her gaze soft as she acknowledges his leadership and bravery in FH's defence, but more his compassion, his quiet excitement and relief at seeing the others safe, the first time she's glimpsed him so open and honest with his feelings, a vulnerability that stirs her. Squall's stance stiffens, his response guarded as a flicker of unease crosses his face, prompting Renoa's playful laugh. Her tone light as she assures him it's fine, that this side of him is pleasant, playfully teasing that she'd hope he'd show the same for her. Her words forward and unguarded, a spark that catches him off guard, his cheeks flushing faintly as he falters under her gaze. Her flirtatious giggle dances in the air, calling his blush cute, her warmth lingering as she turns to catch up with the others, casting a final glance over her shoulder with a promise to see him back at the Garden, leaving Squall rooted on the pier, his guarded heart unsteady yet warmed, the horizon's amber glow a quiet witness to their deepening bond amidst FAO's drifting calm. Squall turns to and steadies Mayor Dobe's weathered frame as they begin the walk back to his residence, the floating city's sunlit sprawl unfolding around them. Locals in faded tunics sweep splintered planks and twisted metal from rusted walkways, their hands deft as they mend nets torn in the fray. The air thick with brine, and now the faint tang of gunpowder lingering from the clash. Squall's gunblade sways at his side as he guides Dobe, as he confesses a distaste for violence as a solution, its necessity in defending FH, a bitter truth he wrestles with, while Dobe, his lean form leaning slightly on Squall's arm, counters with a pacifist's creed, his voice low as he envisions a world of peace over force, their steps tracing a path past fishermen hauling debris to the pier's edge, their worldviews clashing softly beneath the horizon's amber glow. Squall's guarded pragmatism, tempered by Dobe's hope as they near the crane's base, both acknowledging the importance of each other's ways. Their talking interrupted as a seed cadet approaches from a side walkway in navy, whose crisp stride cuts through the bustle, his message from Headmaster Sid unfurling. Engineers are approved to be dispatched to board and repair the Garden's breach, their skiff docking as tools glint in the sun. Dobe's weathered face lifting with gratitude as he nods, instructing them to assist despite his creed, his gaze settling on Squall with a reluctant acknowledgement that his stand against the totalitarian soldiers spared FEH from ruin, a concession woven into the cleanup's rhythm. Squall's resolve firms as they reach the shack's ladder, the mayor's silhouette steadying as he ascends, the engineer's clatter rising from the docks below. FH's fragile calm a testament to their shared effort as Squall turns back toward the garden. Crossing the pier's edge, he steps onto the garden esplanade, the hum of turbines greeting him as Irvine awaits within the circular hall of glass and steel. His tan duster brushed clean of soot, his rifle propped against a railing as he leans with a sharpshooter's ease, his gaze lighting with a familiar grin as Squall approaches. The lobby's quiet hum, a contrast to FH's bustle. Irvine's tone steadies as he directs Squall to Selfie in the garden's courtyard, where she is in need support considering the past events. Squall approaches Selfie as she is assessing the damage on the garden's cadet stage, a place once for announcements, music, and many other activities. Selfie is eager to lift spirits with a garden festival performance, her brightness undimmed by the missile base's trials. A spark Irvine nudges Squall to support. Squall's thoughts shifting to Rinoa, noting how she softened his edges. Her warmth a change. Irvine teases with a knowing tilt. Squall's stance stiffening as his guarded silence meets the observation, a faint flush creeping beneath his resolve. Irvine presses on, his calm unwavering as he urges him this is needed, and already agreed in repairs by the FH engineers. Squall reluctantly agrees to Selfie, and Irvine's joy their laughter interrupted, as Squall is summoned over the PA to debrief with Headmaster Sid in his quarters. Squall steps into Headmaster Sid's office, the oak-panelled walls and cluttered desk, a quiet sanctuary within Balaam Gardens' docked steel frame. The hum of turbines seeping through as dusk filters past the window, his gunblade resting at his side as Sid rises, his bespectacled gaze sharpening with weary resolve, the air thick with the scent of parchment and the weight of their charge. Squall reports the Galbadian soldiers' pursuit of Elone in Fisherman's Horizon, their orders not just to seize her, but to raise the floating city regardless. A revelation that darkens Sid's expression, his hands tightening as he deduces Galbadia's fall. Its strings now pulled by sorceress Idea, her dominion spreading beyond FH's fragile peers. A shadow. Squall silently traces in thought, reaffirming to himself Elone's enigmatic importance. Her power a lure for Idea, its nature still veiled, yet tied to the dreams haunting him. Their Laguna visions a puzzle he cannot yet grasp. Sid's stance shifts, his resolve firming as he turns to the desk's PA system, his voice echoing across the garden's corridors with a grave announcement. Quistis pausing in the infirmary, her whip coiled as she leans against a monitor, its sterile glow flickering as Sid's words spill forth. Zell halting mid-bite in the cafeteria, the chatter of cadets fading round the steaming trays. Rinoa looking up from a book in the library, her blue duster draped over a chair, as Angelo perks his ears amidst the shelves. Sid declaring Seed and the Garden will fulfill their founding purpose, waging war against the sorceress to halt her reign's expansion. An perilous task with the Garden as their mobile base once repairs conclude, appointing Squall as leader of this directive. His trust a mantle settling on Squall's shoulders, his silence yielding to a flicker of duty as the announcement fades. The gardens drifting calm, a fleeting prelude to the storm ahead. As Sid's announcement echoes throughout Balam Gardens halls, day turns to night, and Selphie directs the party teeing to lift the sombre air, their steps swift across Fisherman's Horizon's sunlit piers, the floating city's rusted walkways alive with the clatter of FH residents and garden cadets arriving the newly built stage. Its futuristic, polished by local hands, strung with lights and instruments atop the massive solar panels glow. A defiant spark to raise spirits after the war's grim call, their laughter mingling with the sea breeze as they tune guitars and flutes for the festival. Squall having retreated to his dorm, the steel bunk cool beneath him as he drifts in and out restless sleep, his gunblade propped nearby, with the weight of his new appointment, leader against the sorceress, a mantle heavy with responsibility, his mind wrestling with Idea's shadow and the lives now tethered to his command, doubt a quiet thorn amidst his resolve. A cadet's knock stirs him, his navy uniform crisp, as he has been directed to lead Squall to the FH dock, where Rinoa awaits in a beautiful white short dress, its fabric catching the twilight as Angelo bounds at her side, her warmth radiant as Selphie, Quistis, Zell, and Irvine take the stage. Selphie's flute trilling, Irvine's guitar strumming, Quistis's rhythm steady, and Zell's beat driving the crowd's cheers, their performance a vibrant pulse beneath the horizon's amber veil. A faint smile serves the as pleasant, if but small, distraction for him. Rinoa guides Squall to a high perch overlooking the stage and festival attendees, the music swelling as they lean against the railing, her gaze soft as she nudges him from his silence, his pessimistic outlook surfacing, the seriousness of their task daunting, his voice low as he questions his ability to lead, doubt shadowing his scarred features, met by her gentle insistence to live for now, her warmth pressing him to cherish the moment with her and their friends. Tomorrow's uncertainty, a call to hold closer, her hand brushing his arm as she playfully lifts his spirits, her support unwavering despite his hesitance. Squall's guarded walls waver, his eyes tracing her face as she speaks of her fondness, her presence a steady light he can't turn from, her assurance that he won't face life alone weaving through his reluctance. A quiet shift as he lingers on her words, her playful nudge about his strength drawing a rare, fleeting smile, their bond deepening in the unspoken space between. Feelings stirring yet unnamed, a closeness blooming beneath her laughter and his softening gaze. The concert's final notes fading into FH's night as the sea breeze carries their shared stillness, a fragile promise etched against the horizon's glow. Chapter 10. Tangled Bonds and Northern Calls. Rain lashes a small child standing alone on a windswept shore, his dark hair plastered to his forehead, his small fists clenched as storm crashes down. A younger Squall, Leon Hart, reassuring himself in the downpour's roar. Though his sister's absence cuts deep, he'll be fine, his voice a whisper swallowed by the weather, a vivid dream that coils through his mind as he sleeps in Balam Garden's steel-walled dorm, until a sharp crackle pierces the haze. The PA blaring, Nida's steady call for him to report to the bridge, jolting Squall awake, his gunblade gleaming faintly as he rises, his scarred brow creasing with the weight of command. He strides through the garden's corridors alone, the glass panels reflecting dawn's first light, his boots echoing on the steel floor as he ascends the elevator, its amber glow framing his solitary figure, stepping onto the bridge where Quistis, Shu, and Nida await. Quistis' stance crisp as she informs Squall that they have taken the liberties on his behalf. She will oversee the cadets with Dr. Kadawaki, ensuring the future of Seed. Shu's lithe form steady as she takes on daily maintenance, her gaze sharp over their mobile command in this war. And Nida's calm, anchoring the flight team with the engineers, ready and always on call at the need of Squall and Seed, the trio easing his burden as their new commander, their assignments a quiet trust as Squall's leadership sharpens. Reality setting in for him, but encouraged by the support system he has found around him. His first act, a call to steer the garden toward Balam Town, suspicion gnawing that Galbadian forces and Adea's reach may have tainted the coastal haven. The bridge's screens flickering to life as the turbines rumble. FH's peers slipping from view as his first announcement is heard across the PA. Rinoa, in the library, wears a bright smile of admiration when she hears his voice echoes Vu out. The garden's steel hull carves through the ocean's swells, its shadow falling over Balam's quaint docks. Wooden homes and fishing nets nestled against the shore. A once calm and serene town clearly interrupted. The dock far along the coastline to not alert of their presence, Squall, Zell and Rinoa take the reconnaissance. As they approach, it reveals Galbadian soldiers in blue tunics patrolling the streets, their rifles casting stark lines across the town's serene facade, Squall tightening with confidence as he leads Rinoa and Zell to the town's patrolled entry. His instruction of reassurance that they are searching for Elone and not them. Approaching the patrol, they claim residence to the guard and that they have information they came across on their last fishing trip that could be valuable regarding a search for the mystery women, insisting on the need to speak with the commanding officer. The air thick with salt, and the murmur of disgruntled residents fear further occupation. They are allowed passage, and instructed to the centre hotel that has been commandeered for this post. Zell immediately requests to visit his childhood home, before they engage any further. The desperation in his voice is met with empathy from Squall, who agrees as they quickly cut behind the gas station. They weave through alleys to Zell's house, its familiar walls a refuge where Ma Dinch stirs a pot, her warm eyes softening at the return of her adopted son, always optimistic and proud of him. Ma raised Zell as if he was her own, giving him every opportunity she could, and eventually enlisting him to be educated in Balam Garden like many others in the small town. Her pride ever present as her hands pausing from her cooking as she offers them shelter, explaining how the town is behind Balam Garden, and no one has revealed anything not that they could about Elone. Rinoa takes notice of 3 children in the front room, offering comfort to them, as Ma Dinch reveals she is taking care of them, whilst their parents are locked up for dissidence towards the Galbadian soldiers. Zell quickly rushing to his room, and returning with a stack of triple triad cards, a popular card game across the nation, and gifts them to the children to comfort them in uncertain times. Squall and Rinoa share smiling glances toward each other, proud of their friend and further reinforcing what they are fighting for. Zell warns his mother to pass the message on to rest of the town. What they witnessed on the inauguration was not an illusion, and Sorceress Edea has taken control of Galbadia and further intends on the rest of the world, if she secures this mystery woman she is searching for, so be prepared for the worst. The moment of fleeting balm before they must farewell and press toward the hotel, gaining entry of the previous soldier's recommendation for their information exchange the town's heart, now a Galbadian stronghold. Instructed at the penthouse, the trio are surprised to find Fujin and Raijin stand. Fujin's teal coat sharp against bright the oceanside backdrop. Raijin's bulky vest taut as he grips his staff. Revealed as the commander's, their secret defection from Seed during the pre-missile chaos, a choice not for Idea, but against her. And to save Cypher from her grasp, their loyalty a tangled thread. Squall's gunblade meets with a clash, Zell's fists hammering Raijin's guard, Rinoa's casts weaving through Fujin's kicks. The battle grinding to a stalemate, before their fists could echoing through the lobby below. Both sides lower their weapons, breath heavy as Squall's voice cuts through, warning of no leniency ahead for them or Cypher. Fujin's lone eye narrowing, Raijin's stance easing. Their shared foe in the sorceress, a bond they acknowledge yet part over, choosing separate paths to her downfall. The hotel's stillness a fragile truce as Squall leads his party back to the garden. Balam's streets a shadowed memory of home, under Idia's sway, their resolve a quiet flame as the horizon calls them onward. Back aboard Balam Garden, the hum of turbines swells as Selphie's voice rises in the lobby, her composure barely holding together as she requests a course for Trabia Garden, her former home, a plea to rally allies against Idea's tide, her brightness flickering with a quiet ache. Squall easing with a nod. His thoughts of potential casualties steady him as he orders the drift northward. The steel hull carving through the ocean swells. Fisherman's Horizon's piers now a distant memory, as Balam Town's occupied streets fade behind. The horizon stretching north toward Trabia's icy peaks. Mountains dot the mainland, surrounded by small islands, and the region is plagued with monsters, along with native Shumi tribe and Moombas. A curious crater separates the Trabia continent from Estas Mordred plains. They arrive with the air growing crisp with the promise of snow. The garden's shadow falls over a ravaged landscape as they arrive, Trabia Garden's once proud spire reduced to rubble, its stone walls shattered by Galbadian missiles. The snowy ground scarred with craters and twisted steel. A graveyard of memories beneath a sky heavy with ash. Selphie's steps faltering as she disembarks. Her eyes tracing the wreckage with a trembling stillness. Rinoa warmth softening beside as she consoles here. The others contemplate the potential of this outcome, for Balam had they not intervened. They weave through the debris, survivors in tattered uniforms near the what was central point of Trabia Garden, a once beautiful fountain, their voices low with tales of the missile strike. A vengeance for Seed's defiance. Selphie's gaze lingering on a cracked dormitory wall. Her past a ghost in the frost as she presses forward, urging the others to search for answers. The air thick with the crunch of rubble and the echo of loss. Learning of the small group of survivors, confirming they are the only ones, Squall offers them refuge to join and board Balam Garden, a few stepping forward with cautious hope, while others lingered, bound to the remnants of their shattered sanctuary and home. Selphie silent as she processes the loss. As Balam cadets are aiding the survivors with supplies help boarding he garden. The party reconvenes at the Trabia basketball court, a shattered slab of concrete ringed by bent hoops, its surface pocked by missile blasts. a lone ball rolling in the wind, a former hub of competition where young cadets would experience the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Squall's boots crunching as he crosses the once-was court, his leadership a quiet anchor as Selphie kneels by the court's edge, her fingers brushing the ruin, Irvine's hat tilting low, Quistis's eyes tracing the horizon, Zell's restlessness stilled, and Renoa's presence a gentle tether, their silence a prelude to shared histories stirring beneath the snow-dusted wreckage, Trebia's fall a stark mirror to their resolve against the sorceress's wrath. The group's silence thick with the weight of destruction. Their thoughts churn aloud among each other, wondering why it's come to this. Selphie's home reduced to rubble, pondering how they'll stop the sorceress, racing talks for strategy, questioning what Idea gains from such chaos. Their frustration a low rumble. Squall and Quistis with their natural leadership instincts fixating on Elone, her whispered confession to Squall echoing, manipulating their dreams to glimpse the past, her cryptic plea to change it, stirring his unease, her power a thread Idea hunts, its purpose a mystery tying their visions of Laguna to this war. Renoa breaks the group's deliberation, her warmth cutting through, offering perspective outside the dreamers with visions of the past, and her exclusion from such dreams providing her unbiased analysis, her voice soft as she shares feeling accepted and cared for with a hinting glance at Squall, connected to them despite her timber roots, yet troubled by this fact, and even more so by their trance in battle. A strange unity binding them. Her worry and struggle keep up not just attributed to their seed training, but something deeper she senses. The worry of no hint regarding their pasts surfacing along their journey. Her gaze searching as she suggests Elone's potential might offer a different path, a way to avoid clashing head-on with Idea's might. Her concern a gentle plea for another answer. Squall's stance shifts, his eyes narrowing as he counters. How can she not understand? Her time with Timber's resistance should show her that fighting's necessity, his tone sharp with challenge, a flicker of his guarded self clashing with her hope, although her concerns had clearly struck with the party. They all acknowledge her claims, each wondering how and why they came to be, with no distinct memory, but with a feeling of unity that is beyond their years together. Irvine steps forward, interrupting before any more can be said, his sharpshooter's calm softening as he wears a heavy burden across his face and nods at Renoa's words, agreeing her concerns echo his own. A path of solitude he's walked, always losing people, his gaze drifting as he admits noticing the same trance and togetherness during battle, a unity masking their pasts, his voice steadying as he drops the revelation. That he is an orphan, and so are they. They all hail from the same orphanage, a haven after the first Sorceress War left them adrift, his eyes searching theirs for recognition, finding none. His early attempts to connect met with blank stares, words faltering each time he tried, leaving him unsure if it was truly them, questioning his own sanity in the process. Choosing instead to stay close, watching over their safety, suspecting many avenues responsible for their forgotten past, or his pretend one until Elone's dream revelations hinted at something deeper. He paints the orphanage, a stone house by the sea, white house beyond the spit, waves crashing beyond a sandy yard, wildflowers swaying in the breeze, recalling memories and imagery so vivid of Selphie tumbling off a swing. Quistis nodding faintly at a scolding she received after organising fireworks on the beach. Zell wrestling in the dirt. Squall as a lone boy by the shore, looking overseas, standing in the rain. Even a young Cypher, with a brashness that's beyond a 5-year-old. And lastly, his memory sharpening as he recalls Alone. Her ribboned braid bouncing as she nurtured Squall. Welcoming the elder sibling role of sister to him. Often breaking up playground encounters with Cypher, a bond stirring faintly in Squall's silence. Their fragmented memories stirring, Irvine's breath catching as he unveils the staggering truth. Edia Kramer, the sorceress, was their caregiver, their matron, her dark hair a gentle frame in his past, a figure of warmth who sang lullabies to soothe their nightmares. Her hands tender as she bandaged scraped knees. Her laughter a melody that danced through the stone halls. Her love a steady light guiding them through the war's aftermath. Now a chilling shadow twisted beyond recognition. One truth that is almost impossible for Irvine to accept. Squall's scarred brow tightens, his voice cutting in, asking if that's why Irvine froze, unable to take the shot immediately in Delling City's assassination attempt. Irvine's calm shattering as he sinks to his knees, tears streaking his face, confessing it all poured out too fast, reuniting with him his makeshift childhood family, then facing her, the mother who raised them down the sights of his scope, who he owed so much to, his shot faltering as he couldn't harm her. His guilt overwhelming him now at Trebbia's ruin, believing he's to blame for this devastation. His sobs echoing as Squall kneels beside him, steady hand on his shoulder. Selphie crouching close her arm around him, her brightness firm as she insists he's not at fault. Their comfort a quiet anchor in the snow. The weight of what Irvine had been carrying relieved and a burden shared. Questions of his sanity were no more, along with his promise of no further failure, and the acceptance of what must be done to Adea the sorceress. Quistis steps forward, her instructor's calm piercing as she concludes. They all started losing memories young, or roughly around their enrollment in Garden. Concerns of Guardian forces and the side effects of such power. Although no official documented report showing memory loss, rumours would circulate the halls. Selphie questions why Headmaster Sid would let them use Guardian forces knowing they'd lose their memories, her brightness dimming with confusion. Her gaze darting as Squall answers, suggesting Sid might not have known. He reminds of the revelation about Garden Master Norg's greed, his push to arm Seed as mercenaries for profit, burying the cost in shadows, a practice sustained to fuel the Garden's might. Their pasts, a quiet casualty of his ambition. The realization settling between them like the falling snowflakes. The power in junctioning a GF wiping their pasts clean. Irvine given his speciality as a marksman, choosing not to, keeping his intact, the party in together agreeing, feeling it's true though they can't recall. Zell rubbing his head, agreeing it fits, annoyed at the blank, however content if it means he can protect his family in Balaam. Squall muttering in agreement, sensing Adea's care slip away early, Rinoa, her concern soft of long-term effects. Quistis affirming it's the only answer at the moment if they are to defeat the sorceress. A shared heavy truth, pushing them forward despite the void. Snow starts to fall heavier on Trebia Garden's cracked basketball court. Flakes swirling in the chill wind as they dust the bent hoops and pockmarked concrete, The air growing heavy with the scent of frost and ruin, Squall stepping forward, he suggests that they head to the orphanage for further investigation, his voice cutting through the silence with a quiet resolve, driven by the need to unearth the truth of Adea's care and Alone's cryptic power, their past a tangled thread demanding answers beneath the sorceress's looming threat. Their steps beginning to crunch through the snow toward Balamgarden as the final Trabia refugees board. The falling flakes a cold veil over their former home's wreckage, their unity a fragile flame as they turn away. The orphanage a distant call across the sea, its secrets a bridge to the battles yet to come.